Hello and welcome back to another video. In this problem, we're told a group of friends decided to divide the $800 cost of a trip equally among themselves. When two of the friends decided not to go, the remaining people still divided that same $800, but each share of their cost increased by $20. So we're told how many friends were in the group originally. So if we let X be the number of people originally, and Y be the cost originally, then if we have X people and it costs Y dollars each, then X times Y is equal to 800, since that was the total cost of all of them. When two friends are not going, then the number of people becomes X minus 2, and their cost increases by 20, so it's Y, the original cost, plus 20, and then it still costs $800, so it's still equal to $800. So we have two equations with two variables, so we can solve for the variables. We're looking for how many friends were in the group originally, so we're going to solve for X. So the way we're going to do this, we can't do elimination here because we have two variables that multiplied by each other. It's not going to work, so we're going to use substitution. So this, if you divide both sides by Y, then you get X in terms of Y. But we actually want to do the other way. We want to get Y in terms of X. These will cancel. We get Y is equal to, on this side, 800 over X. So we have X minus 2 times Y, which is 800 over X, plus 20 is equal to 800. Now we have one equation with one variable, and we can solve this. And it's not going to be as bad as it looks. So first we have to distribute. So we have to multiply X times 800 over X. The X's cancel, and you just get 800. If you want me to show that, we have X times 800 over X, which is X times 800 is 800X over X, and then these cancel, and you just have 800. Then you multiply these two, and 20 times X is 20X. Minus 2 times 800 is minus 1600, of course, over X. And then that's these two, and then the last one is minus 40. And this is equal to 800. Now, firstly, if we just subtract both sides by 800 to get these out of the way, all that cancels, and you get 20x minus, I'm going to move the 40 into the middle, and then minus 1600 over x. So you said these three terms are equal to 800 minus 800 is 0. And the reason I rearranged these to put the 40 in the middle, because if you multiply the entire equation by x, you have 20x times x is 20x squared, minus 40 times x is minus 40x, and then minus x times 1600 over x, similar thing here, you just get this number up top, so minus 1600 is equal to x times 0 is 0. Okay, so now we have a quadratic that we can solve. It's going to be easier if we can get this simplified. And if we divide everything by 20, it will be. Of course, don't forget both sides. So you have 20 over 20 is just 1x squared, or just x squared, minus 40 over 20, and you can just cancel off the zeros to make it a little bit easier. 40 over 20 you might just know is 2 anyways, but for this one, we can cut off a 0 from each of them, and we get minus 160 divided by 2 is minus 80, and this is equal to 0 over 20, which is, of course, 0. So up here, we have x squared minus 2x minus 80 is equal to 0. And we want to get this in the form x minus something times x plus something is equal to 0. Why is one of them minus and one of them plus? Well, they have to multiply to negative 80. And if you have two positive numbers, then they're going to be multiplied to a positive number. And if you have two negative numbers, the negatives are going to cancel, and it's going to be back to positive anyways. So the way that they multiply to a negative number is one of them to be negative and one of them to be positive. And they have to multiply to 80, and they have to add to negative 2. So what are the factors of 80? Well, if we write this, if you can see it, you can do the prime factorization. 80 you can split into 2 and 40, 40 into 2 and 20, 20 into 2 and 10, and then 10 into 2 and 5. So we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 2 to the 4th times 5. So how many factors can you grab out of this? Well, when you just have two numbers multiplied by each other is the prime factorization. You can say, okay, this is going to be all the combinations of numbers of 2 with numbers of 5. So you have 2 to the 4th times 5, and then the only thing left over is 1. So you put all of our factors, and then it just has to be 1, and this is going to come out to 80 and 1. Now if we take 2 to the 3rd times 5, and we leave a 2 on the other side, then this becomes 40 and 2. If you bring another 2 over to that other factor, you have 2 to the 2 times 5, and then there's 2 2's left, so 2 squared. So this is 20 and 4. You have only one 2 multiplied by the 5, and then there's 3 left over for the other factor. That's 10 and 8. And then finally, all the 2's go to the other one. We just have 5 on its own, and then 2 to the 4th, which is 5 and 16. So this is how you get all of the factors of 80. It might be a little bit longer than the way that you're used to doing it, but it will make sure that you don't miss any of them, right? So we have 80 and 1, 40 and 2, 20 and 4, 10 and 8, and then 5 and 16. So we have, they need to add to negative 2. So when one of them is negative and one of them is positive, they have to add to negative 2. 80 plus negative 1 is negative 79. Negative 80 plus 1, 80 plus negative 1 is positive 79. Negative 80 plus 1 is negative 79. Those are both not even close. 40 minus 2 is 38. Negative 40 plus 2 is negative 38. Negative 20 plus 4 is negative 16. 20 minus 4 is positive 16. So these are all busts. But then when we get here, if we have 10 minus 8, that's 2. But then if you have negative 10 plus 8, that's minus 2. So that's how you get this, is negative 10 plus 8. And then if you want to see what that comes out to, why is this the case? Or why did we say that they have to add to negative 2 and multiply to negative 80? Well, you have distributing x squared plus 8x minus 10x plus negative 10 times 8 is equal to 0. So they add, these terms add to become this negative 2, and these multiply to become negative 80. Just ignoring this step because we're not undoing it. This is what we want. We know that for these two things to multiply to 0, either x minus 10 has to be equal to 0, or x plus 8 has to be equal to 0. And then why is this the case? Well, if you have two numbers multiplying by each other, one of them has to be 0 for them to multiply to 0, right? If you have 4 times 0, that's 0. If you have 6 times 0, that's 0. If you have 0 times 10, that's 0. But if one of them isn't 0, you're never going to get 0. So we know that x is equal to, adding 10 to both sides, x is equal to 0 plus 10 is 10. Or subtracting 8 from both sides to get x alone, we get x is equal to 0 minus 8 is negative 8. So either x is equal to 10 or x is equal to negative 8. And we know that it's not negative 8. X is a number of people. You can't have negative people. So it has to be the positive one. It has to be 10. And we're asked how many friends were in the group originally. X is the number of people originally, which we found was 10, so 10 is going to be your final answer. As always, thank you for liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.